Good evening, everybody. My name is Michael or Kubera, and today Bitcoin has touched $10,000. We had a live stream about that. Most of the altcoins are green following Bitcoin. Now it's just underneath $10,000, and we're going to have more news videos about that. The Bitcoin block reward halving is 3 days, 7 hours away. However, today's story starts with credit on Instagram and PPP loans for sole proprietors, freelancers, and people who weren't able to fall under other categories. It's fairly simple, but the money is going fast. This was from April. However, the government added more money into the program, and if they run out again, they're probably going to add more money into the program because there's still a lot of small businesses and sole proprietors that weren't able to get the money. They got their application rejected. They didn't know about it. They had tax issues. Even people who applied for the stimulus check and everything was right, some payments are unfortunately delayed. So today's video, we're mainly going to be discussing about these PPP loans. You might be entitled to a check for up to $20,800. If you're not a small business, but you're just a sole proprietor, a freelancer, a YouTuber, somebody who designs graphics, as long as you have your documentation in check, this should be an easy process. So let's roll the intro and let's get into it. I think this is an important channel that I have to give a shout out. The Lunch Money series from Anthony Pompliano. You see him on Twitter all over the place. This is the first time I watched his YouTube channel. So Stephen Liao from Credit, you might have seen him, might have not. I'm not gonna show you the post. Unfortunately, I was a little silly because I forgot that Instagram stories are only active for 24 hours, so they disappeared. But let me tell you what his Instagram story had. It was about the PPP program and how he got over $1 million. Now, how do they calculate how much money you get? You have to have a business, you have to have proof that you've been earning this and this amount and that you're spending this and this amount, so most likely through taxes. And he got like $1,040,000. He had a private banker that helped him get the application, and it came faster, as I was discussing in earlier videos, that if you have a private banker, if you've got more money, you're going to get things done a little bit quicker, or you're going to get them done in the first place, because some people who don't have that much money didn't even get approved, didn't even get anything. So what you do is you divide that amount by 2.5, and his monthly income was $416,000 for that one business that he got, or maybe it was multiple businesses that he claimed. You could do that as well, but essentially it's what you earn in a month times 2.5, and that'll be the maximum. And then he posted a link to a website. Despite whatever you think about Stephen Liao, he was giving good advice. Sure, it was behind a paywall essentially for his private group, but it's not that hard to figure out how to file as a sole proprietor to get your PPP loan if you qualify. There was one line from an article that he chose, and that was, in order to get this loan, and you have to use it within the first 8 weeks of getting it, in order not to pay back the government, in order for it to be forgivable, you have to use 25% for rent that can be proven, or for leases, or for anything that was secured already before February of this year. If you've got an office space, if you're renting out an apartment, as long as you didn't start renting in March or April, you are good to go. So 25% of that loan has to go for that, which is a decent amount, but come on, rent makes up a large part of a business's expenses. The other 75% could be used as a makeup for your income. So let's go into the full details on how to get a forgivable loan if you're able to qualify. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show you the exact website through which PayPal redirects, but you could also do it through PayPal. You could do it through your bank. I got an error because I'm abroad. But all of these links will be down in the description below. Speaking of which, follow me on TikTok if you've got a TikTok. We're making Bitcoin TikToks. And this one from PayPal: how do I apply for the SBA Paycheck Protection Program loan? I completed my PPP application. How do I log in? So you can go through the loanbuilder.com website, which is linked from paypal.com. You can either log in with the loan builder or log in with PayPal, and then all the information is given to you. So I'm not going to read everything from here, but I got my PPP loan. What do I have to do to achieve forgiveness? Here are a few of the basics. The amount of forgiveness depends on, among other requirements, how the loan funds are used over the 8-week period starting the day your loan was funded. Eligible uses in accordance with SBA guidelines include eligible payroll costs, eligible interest on business mortgages or other business debt, if entered into before February 15, 2020, eligible rent under business lease agreements and entered into before February 15, 2020, eligible utilities for which service began before February 15, 2020. The SBA has stated that over the 8-week period starting the day your loan was funded, at least 75% of the loan proceeds should be used for eligible payroll costs, and that no more than 25% of the loan proceeds should be used for eligible non-payroll costs. So 75% of the payroll, if you are a sole proprietor, a freelancer with no employees, that is your income. That is your lost income. There are a number of additional requirements, so you can go to the home.treasury.gov. You can go to the home.treasury.gov place. You can go to the home.treasury.gov link, which is provided. You can read more about it. My loan amount is lower than I expected. Why? So this goes into how you should divide your annual earnings by 12, so each month, and then multiply it by 2.5. So the documentation you submitted may not have supported the average monthly payroll cost you reflected in your application, or the average monthly payroll cost you submitted may have not satisfied the Small Business Administration's guidance for eligible payroll costs. You cannot redo the application, so make sure you do it well. You can decline the offer that's given to you, and there's more questions that you can go through. So this guy's asking, what kind of documents did you guys provide to PayPal? They only asked for my Schedule C, the calculator Excel that they linked. I was personally never able to get this far, but a friend who's a sole proprietor, and she was able to get into the deeper process. She took screenshots. They asked for relevant business owner information, so address, date of birth, social security number, EIN, etc., as well as a business license, driver's license, payroll verification, Schedule C, bank account info. And then just in case, contact PayPal. 5 important warnings as the Paycheck Protection Program opens back up. After passing new stimulus legislation this week, Congress is said to add $310 billion to the Paycheck Protection Program. This was as of April 7th. The second round of applications will officially open soon, and whether you're waiting on an already submitted application or you're itching to apply, here are 5 things to remember. Be prepared. While $310 billion seems like a lot of money, we saw the last $349 billion run out within 2 weeks. You can prepare by determining which lender you'll be applying to and what you'll need to provide. Unfortunately, requirements differ from lender to lender, but here are some of the most common items lenders require. The 2019 income tax return, whether Form 1065, Form 1120S, or Form 990, a tax Form 940 if filed, a 2019 IRS Form 941, a 2019 payroll processor record, 2020 tax form 941, or a payroll processor record for the period between February 14th and 29th, 2020. Documentation of any retirement or health insurance contributions, so that's also a big one. For sole proprietors or self-employed without employees, a 1040 Schedule C, a draft Schedule C if not filed, so you don't even have to file. It might delay the process a little bit, but you can still do it. Income and expenses, a profit and loss statement, a 2019 IRS Form 1099. So, just records for 2019 and 2020, and for independent contractors, a Form 1099. Businesses applying for a PPP loan must certify that they've been harmed by the crisis and need the PPP loan to operate. Additionally, he claimed any company with revenue to cover operations isn't eligible. The problem with these statements is that you don't have to certify to either of those things. According to the SBA's final application, you certify that current economic uncertainty makes this loan request necessary to support the ongoing operations of the applicant. I'd be hard-pressed to name any small business that doesn't face current economic uncertainty in the face of a global pandemic and a nation that, for the most part, is shut down. You also certify that the funds will be used to retain workers and maintain payroll or make mortgage interest payments, lease payments, and utility payments as specified under the Paycheck Protection Program rule. I don't see how that translates into any company with revenue to cover operations isn't eligible. All this shows that CARES Act programs continue to be surrounded by confusion, uncertainty, and conflicting information. But you should apply. It gets trickier for corporations and small businesses, but as a sole proprietor, you should apply. Seriously. The worst thing that happens is you get rejected. Or even if you don't make it within the 8 weeks, you will have to pay back the loan, but you have 2 years. So that loan, if you're a good business owner, you can make good use of that. And there's going to be very, very low interest. It's going to be, at maximum, probably going to be 0.5%. They wanted 4%, but we're going to discuss about that. So the next point, funds from this program may block help from other programs. So it really depends. It can mix with an EIDL, but as a sole proprietor, don't worry. If you got your stimulus check, you're not unemployed right now, you've been affected by it, you can get it. You don't have to go through your bank, so you could go through PayPal, you could go through other fintech companies, and this likely won't be the last time it happens. So there's other stuff that you have to get the documents prepared for. There's going to be more programs, and over the next few weeks, we're going to find out which programs those are. So how PPP loans work for sole proprietors and freelancers. It's become increasingly clear PPP loans are the hot ticket in the new CARES Act. Hundreds of thousands of officially incorporated small businesses with employee payroll expenses have already applied for a PPP loan, and the money is starting to fund. For unincorporated freelancers and sole proprietors, it's been more frustrating. Until yesterday, no one, including banks, really understood how PPP loans would work for self-employed folks without employees. That all changed with new guidelines from the SBA. So point one, the loan is based on 2019 Schedule C income. In fact, a copy of the C tax form must be included with the PPP loan app, even if the applicant hasn't filed their 2019 tax return yet. If the Schedule C income is $0 or less, a proprietor without employees is not eligible for a PPP loan. The amount of the PPP loan is calculated as follows. So, as we discussed, it's divided by 12, multiply the number by 2.5, and you just have to choose whether it's over $100,000 or less than $100,000. So the maximum amount that a sole proprietor can get is $20,833, so nearly 21 grand. Point three, eventual forgiveness of the PPP loan is calculated as follows. So the 8 weeks, for example, if a proprietor had a maximum of $100,000 Schedule C income, the automatic forgiveness would be 8 divided by 52 times $100,000, so that's $15,384. In addition, during the 8 weeks following funding of the loan, any business expenses for utilities, including business vehicle, gas, rent, and interest would be forgiven up to the remaining unforgiven amount of the loan. So you could get up to 100% even if you didn't get it immediately. Bottom line, in simple terms, for a sole proprietor without employees, the maximum loan is $20,833, of which $15,384 is apparently automatically forgiven. The remaining $5,449 can be forgiven and spent on business, utilities, rent, and interest. Point four, the new SBA guidance has also addressed partnerships without payroll expenses. If you have such a partnership, the partnership must apply for the PPP loan. The loan amount is based on the combined self-employment income of the general active partners up to a maximum of $100,000 per partner. For example, take a partnership with $500,000 in total self-employment income and 3 partners. The maximum loan is $300,000 divided by 12 times 2.5, so that's $62,500. It is presumed, but not specifically spelled out, that forgiveness would follow the same vein as forgiveness for sole proprietors. 8 weeks worth of the $300,000 of self-employment income would be forgiven. Using the above example, there will be 8 divided by 52 times $300,000. That's $46,000, $154 forgiven. If partners are not comfortable trusting in automatic forgiveness, it might be wise to issue guaranteed payments, the equivalent of wages to the partners in the amount of the expected SE income forgiveness. Again, $46,154 in this example. That would create an auditable cash trail to support forgiveness. Like sole proprietor loans, the remainder of the loan could also be forgiven if spent on utilities, rent, and interest within 8 weeks of receiving the loan. The final thoughts, with the new SBA guidelines, hopefully the banks will be able to quickly and efficiently process loans to self-employed individuals, although it helps if you have a private banker. Unfortunately, it appears that the PPP program will run out of money, and hopefully the government empties the coffers again, throws in more money, and this was from a while, so it's constantly being adjusted. But still, look into it. A lot of people didn't look into it. I had no idea about this. How to get second round PPP funds as a sole proprietor. So this one's a little bit later. This was from April 23rd. I know, quite a doozy, a lot of information in this. Probably most of it's being repeated, but I want you guys, if you're eligible to get this, and you're able to get it without stress. So, the initial round of Paycheck Protection Program funding authorized last March focused on S Corps and C Corps. It was simpler that way. Now the system is ready for Schedule C sole proprietors, but just because it's available doesn't mean it's for everyone. However, if you decide that PPP is a perfect fit for you, the application has some unique characteristics. So, what's a sole proprietor and what can they get under the PPP? You enter in your Schedule C income, so wages for any employees, you and if you have other employees that are reported on the W-2 tax form, pension and profit sharing for employees, not you, health insurance for employees, not you. Total divided by 12 and multiplied by 2.5. So if you made $75K, that would be $15,625. Next, business owners who receive the PPP loan that have 8 weeks to spend the money on a specific expense in order to have it completely forgiven. Regrettably, the equation of what a business owner can receive and what will be forgiven is still extremely complex at best. The SBA has contradicted themselves several times, and frankly, who even knows what the final application to get funds forgiven will look like? More on this here. How to qualify. So, in order to get it, a sole proprietor has to prove their net income, the 1040 tax forms. Next, the proprietor needs to show they were in a business before February 15, 2020. This loan is not to start a business, but to save a current business. How to obtain loan forgiveness. The true beauty of this loan is that if you use the money for payroll, rent, mortgage obligations, utilities, and other fixed debt obligations in the first 8 weeks after the loan funds, the debt is completely forgiven. Now, with that said, we all understand the biggest expense and purpose of the PPP is to encourage hiring of employees, yet it creates a problem. The primary employee is the actual proprietor, and they aren't allowed to put themselves on payroll to Schedule C. As such, many tax advisors and bankers are still waiting for guidance from the SBA on how to substantiate these amounts. In the end, whatever funds the proprietor doesn't get forgiven converts to a 2-year loan that is nearly interest-free. The bill allowed for a maximum rate of 4%, but the guidance issued by the U.S. Treasury stating that the maximum rate would be 0.5%. Finally, it's reasonable to assume that business owners who receive PPP funds are going to face a difficult challenge when they have 8 weeks to spend the money, yet can't open their business due to shelter-in-place order and their employees are making more unemployment. However, if you're working from home, this is a great opportunity to use that loan. The takeaway: determine if the PPP works for your business by calculating the numbers based on the Schedule C. By the way, if you get a loan, don't use it for crypto unless you have money and you don't really need the loan, but you got it because you have a business anyways and you were able to. And you have enough money in other stuff and you got an emergency fund, then yeah, maybe use a little bit for crypto. Anyways, my name is Michael Kubera. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share. We are trying to get to 19,000 subscribers again, even though we're losing subscribers. Don't worry. We're going to come back up. Revolution, empire, boom. Share your opinion down below. Let me know if you are part of the PPP program, how your stimulus checks go, and how your crypto is doing. See you guys tomorrow.